Hi, welcome to the channel. Today's video is titled British Soldiers Stand Up for Black American Soldiers. The incident at Bamber Bridge. Awesome. I think we've checked this video before, but this kind of looked like a very different one. So we're going to check this together and all of your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below. Let's dive right in. What they didn't say.
Good evening, and welcome to a new segment of He Said, called What They Didn't Say. Tonight, we're going to talk about what we were never taught about Black history in high school. But before I begin, I'm going to give credit to Miss Frederica Lewis, whose information that was posted actually on social media, and we saw it and we thought this is some good information that we want to share with our viewers. So tonight, we're going to talk about the Battle of Bamber Bridge in 1943. On June 24th and June 25th in 1943, Black American soldiers faced off with white American military police during World War II on British soil. Yes, you heard me correctly. Black American soldiers had to fight their own white American soldiers while in England, where they were fighting for the world. And you might want to ask why. Well, because the English town of Bamber Bridge and Lancashire was not segregated. So they treated the Black soldiers like all other races. By that, I mean Blacks were free to eat, to drink, to walk around, and socialize anywhere they wanted to, while back in America, segregation of Blacks and whites still existed.
Thank you for this. Because you see, especially when it comes to history, I always say learn history for your good. For me, how I learn history is I learn history on a neutral basis. Then I form my opinion, and for me, I don't just check one, two videos. I check if I can check from the middle, from the beginning, from the end, center, everywhere. I'm checking this one, I'm checking this one, I'm checking another one, I'm checking another one. And this incident of the Bamber Bridge, this is or the of the Bamber Bridge. This is not the first time I've seen this video. I've checked it a couple of times. I think there are about three or four videos that are talking about this, right? And here is the thing with history, people only tell you the part of history that they want you to know. They don't tell you the entirety of history or the side that is more or is important. And when I checked this, the first thing that came to mind was, why don't people talk about this? Because they want you to believe that um everyone or every white person is racist. Because like once people attach the word racist to things, then automatically that person turns becomes a scarecrow. When in reality, I don't think racism or racist knows any skin color. And I'm gonna be honest with you regarding that. And when I checked this video, especially with the um incident in Bamba Bridge, and talk about the experience of Americans in America. See, in England, they had a different reality, while in America, they had a different reality. In England, everybody come, let's marry, eat, and be merry, right? That was their reality. Let's just say in Lancashire, right? I think that was the place that it happened. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. That was where it happened. So their reality is we don't see color. Everyone is a human being. Let's eat and be merry. In America, their reality is they saw color or they saw skin color. Well, you want me to be honest? This side of the reality, they were right. This side of the reality, they were right. But again, if you come to my house And this is how I operate in my house. You don't come to change the laws to benefit you or to fit you. That's not how it works. And that was exactly the reality of the Englishman in Bamber Bridge. And what did they do? They fought the white American counterparts to say, no, you don't do that. We don't do that here. This is not welcomed here. It is not welcomed here. And guess what? This side of history, how many people were told about it? Guess what? Even on social media, videos like this don't circulate round because they don't want you to know the truth, or they don't want you to know that, oh, not every white person is racist. They want you to think like when you see a white person, think racism or think racist, when that is not the reality. It's not the reality. But again, we're going to continue checking the video because I mean, this video itself, it lives fresh in my memory. I've said to myself that I was still going to check the video. Maybe I'm going to recheck it over and over again until it sinks in, so that people who haven't seen it or don't know this side of history would see it. Because for me, it sat in, it sunk in my head. It sunk in my head, and I love that part. Nobody wants to talk about it because if you talk about it, you're exposing people who are hiding a particular side of history because they don't want you to know. And why do they want you to know? Because some people gain from this narrative, division, division.
So essentially, the American army went to someone else's country and demanded they adopted American racist practices. So when the American military police found out that their own black American soldiers were drinking at the same pubs as their white soldiers, they went in to arrest them. But the people
Like,
in the town of Bamber Bridge got mad about the treatment of black soldiers, and then they decided to turn their pubs into blacks only drinking pubs, the very opposite of what was taking place in America with white only businesses.
hmm,
Of course, this infuriated the American military, so guns went up blazing. And when word spread back at camp that black soldiers had been shot, scores of men formed crowds and some carrying rifles. And by midnight, more American military police
trooped in.
arrived with a machine gun equipped vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. So the black soldiers had no choice but to get rifles from British stores
Mm-hmm.
while others barricaded themselves back at the base. So now it was American white soldiers versus American black
Black
soldiers.
soldiers.
This led to the unfortunate death of one soldier, injury of seven, and 32 convictions. But back in America, as it always is, the battle was hushed. It was not talked about because they didn't want the country to find out that the white soldiers were fighting their own soldiers, which would anger the black population and weaken morale in the country.
You get that? Everything went hush hush. Hush hush. And again, let me just say this because we live in the different times, right? And I don't want, for the love of God, for us to experience what happened in history. I mean, you can look at it to say, oh, it's not too long ago. But in reality, it's long ago. It's long ago. We don't want that to happen again. But guess what? You're going into somebody's house and you're saying the law or the rules that you apply in your house should be applicable to the person's house. It doesn't work like that. They were welcome. The black soldiers, for me, I just don't like using black, white, purple, pink, whatever nonsense that is. I don't like using it. I'm sorry. I don't like using it. I don't do that. But for the sake of this video, we're going to use it. So the black soldiers and British people, or the people in Bamber Bridge, but I just think like the British people, right? They're British people, right? Right. So the other folks, as human beings, welcomed everybody. Eat and be merry, right? Let's party. I mean, everybody just fought a war. Let's eat and be merry and thank God we are alive. And then some other group came in, like, well, back home, you will not be here. So it's supposed to be the same. Do you expect the other soldiers, the British soldiers, to fold their hands to say, okay, if that's how they do it at home, we should also do it here? Why didn't they do that? Because they had a different reality. I mean, the British soldiers, I want to believe that most of the British soldiers were white. Why didn't they say, oh, okay, since these white soldiers, who happen to be Americans, are telling the black soldiers who happen to be Americans, then we will join them because I mean we are the same race, or we look alike. But guess what? Guess what? The people who weren't theirs against their people. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. You don't do that in our town. You can go back home and do that thing that you do, but don't do it here. Everyone is welcomed. But as usual, everything went hush because I want to believe that the people would have been humiliated because in their mind they would think the British soldiers would support them, but they didn't. So they were humiliated. And with ego, uniform people with ego, they'd be like, okay, now they want to like, but it doesn't work like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was an important piece of history that a lot of you need, Black history that a lot of you need to know about. So we thought we would share with you tonight. You may read about other ill treatment of Black American soldiers by their own army in the book Forgotten, the untold story of D-Day's Black heroes at home and at war by Linda Herveau. Please go to the He Said Live Facebook page and you can get the link and definitely get the book. There's information in there that you want to know about because, again, they did not teach us this in high school. So we were very happy to bring you this segment of what they didn't say. Have a good night, everybody. Talk to you next time. Bye.
And what's even quite interesting is I actually was expecting him to say something else, but he did not say that. But again, I'm gonna say this because here is the thing, right? Yeah, because in the video that I checked regarding the Bamber Bridge, the incident at Bamber Bridge, what also happened was the British women, lots of them, decided to follow the Black American men because they were more composed, organized, well behaved. So, this British emphasis, again, for the context of this video, we're going to use white, the color, right? British white women followed, decided, some of them decided to get married to these Black American soldiers because they were well behaved, well mannered. I mean, I mean, that alone says a lot. You want to know why? Because The reality of the British people as at then or that time, let's use that experience, were completely different from the Americans. And you also want to know something. British people saw something valuable from these soldiers that those other American soldiers did not see in their soldiers. And there are many ways you're going to look at it. That's why this side of history isn't told. Videos like this don't go viral. Videos like this don't hit the internet. Because who is it going to benefit? It's going to benefit you if you know the truth. It's not going to benefit those people who don't want you to know the truth, because they don't want you to know that there are some group of people who did not practice or who did not believe in segregation, or who did not see skin color. And again, I'm just going to say this for people who only think, like, who have painted their mind or clouded their mind to think like when you see a white person, then think racist. I'm just going to tell you this: racism doesn't know skin color. Okay? And everybody have got their own personal bias. And if you think your personal bias is validated, why do you think someone else's personal bias isn't validated? Again, so don't do that. Don't do that. If you want to learn history for good. Don't just go, because obviously when it comes to history, there are some informations that you will not be told. In fact, sometimes when I hear some things, I just laugh. And then guess what? You will check another video and you'll be hearing something else, and you'll be like, or you'll be reading another book or reading something, and you'll be like, wait, what? But this person just said this. Wait, what? That's what he does. You want to know why? Because everyone's perspective to things or information are different. And people will share based on what they understand or based on what they want to push. I'm not going to fault them, but I'm going to put it on you to do your research and learn history on a neutral basis. Then come with your own conclusion. But again, this incident of Bamber Bridge, or Battle of Bamber Bridge, right? That's the title. This particular one, I wish it's been told or spread across many people to understand, many people to hear. I wish people hear this, but of course, the negative sides or negative things would spread more than the positive or the good side. Because people did not believe, or people don't believe, that good things actually happened in history. People only cloud their mind to say only bad things happened in history, when in reality, even you as a human being, you have your good side and you have the bad side. And obviously not everybody is going to experience your good side, and not everybody is going to experience your bad side, and that is okay, because that is what makes us human, and we are different. People would react to things differently, right? But again, for me, learn history for your own good and on a neutral basis. I think if you do learn history on a neutral basis, you will not have issues when it comes to history. You would understand it for your own good. Let me know what you think about this. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that stuff. And until next time, see you in the next video.